Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel. Yet another live stream. Today, we are here with lineup reaction for Manchester United versus Arsenal. A lot of you may currently be distracted by the protests before the game. If so, good, well in. But of course, there is a football match to be played as well. And it looks as though this is the Manchester United starting 11. We've got Andre Onana in goal. We've got a back three of Lenny Yoro, De Ligt and Victor Lindelof, although we're not quite sure what way round they will play. We've got Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro in midfield. We've got Dalot at wing-back with Mazraoui, Eriksen, Garnacho and Xerxes as the front three. In terms of the Arsenal starting 11, I am just waiting to see it come through on my phone. As of yet, I have not had the news, so I'm just waiting to see that. There is also a little bit of confusion with the starting 11 because initially it was released with Højlund not in the squad at all. Now it's been re-released with Højlund on the bench. And also, I believe Eriksen is in the starting 11 and also on the bench. So there's a little bit of confusion around the team news. So I am just waiting for clarification on that. But if that is the 11 for United, what are your thoughts? How are you feeling about that? As far as starting 11s go in terms of really inspiring confidence, it's not the best, right? It's not the greatest starting 11 I have ever seen in my life, to be honest. I have been more hopeful having seen team news. But I think realistically, we know that we've got a limited squad at the moment. We are a little bit low on players and a little bit low on options. What are your thoughts? How are you feeling right now? And also, actually, aside from the football for a second, how are you feeling? And who have we got in the chat today? We've got Snicky, we've got Emmanuel, we've got Josh, we've got Stizzy, we've got Steve, we've got Chad, we've got David. Good afternoon to all of you guys. I hope you are well. Those of you that are in the chat, have a little look at the top of the chat. You will see that David has pinned a message. In that message, there is a link to our second channel. So, you know, if United get battered and you want a break from United, but you want to talk about football still, then check out the AJ Talks Tactics channel, linked in the chat, and also a link to the Discord server as well, which I'm pretty sure will be active during the game this afternoon, so get involved there. All of that is, of course, completely free. We've also got David in the chat with the gifted membership as well. As always, there is not a better way to start the stream than seeing David in the chat. David, thank you very much, my man. Guys, you know what to do. Love hearts in the chat for David. Matt, that right-hand side terrifies me. Yeah, I mean, we do need to discuss actually how these are going to line up. Of course, there is a chance that it gets moved about a little bit. Could Xerxes play in one of these roles and Eriksen goes up front or Garnacho? There's a few things to discuss, but I mean, if it is that right-hand side, and we're talking about playing against an Arsenal side, which, you know, is always praised for its physicality, a little bit terrifying. All right, Josh has got the Arsenal team news in the chat. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I've also just had it come through on my phone, I believe. Nope, it's disappeared. Raya in goal, as expected. Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori. What number's Calafiori? I can't remember. 15, is it? Is he number 15? Something like that. We'll put him in the team as a 15 because why not? Partey, Rice, Odegaard, to be expected. Nwaneri on the right, Marino up top, and Trossard on the left-hand side. So we were close. We just got it wrong with the back three. In terms of, you know, if we're reacting to that as news as well, the Arsenal team news, difficult for me to speak there. The Arsenal front three also doesn't inspire, really, right? It's not the most exciting. Oh, he is 33. I think you're right, Josh. It's not the most exciting front three you're ever going to see from Arsenal. Of course, the likes of Saka, Martinelli out injured. Havertz not in the team at the moment either. Marino, if you don't know, is a central midfielder, recently playing up front, but he's actually doing a decent job, scoring some goals. Nwaneri, a very, very talented young man, incredibly good young footballer, but he is that, a very young player. He's literally a child, I still believe. And Trossard on the left, a really effective player in the final third, sort of comes to life in these moments here. But in terms of actually, you know, raw pace and power and skill and dribbling, it's not the greatest Arsenal team you're ever going to see. It is a weaker front three, which might give us a little bit of a chance. AJ goal prediction. That will come towards the end of the stream. I don't want to do it just now. This game will be lost and lost in midfield. I feel like the saying is normally won and lost. Was that a typo, Steve? Or are you just that pessimistic about this game that you're just assuming we're going to lose? In terms of if it is won and lost or lost and lost in the midfield, United do have the chance to get the overload in the middle of the pitch in terms of numerically 4 versus 3. So I would imagine Garnacho peels wide, Dalot comes inside. We could get a 4 versus 3. So perhaps we could win that battle there. That might give us an advantage in the midfield. But in terms of if we are talking actually in terms of personnel, I always talk about this Arsenal side as being athletic, as being strong, some of the best ground coverers in the Premier League. They're so physical there. Even Odegaard, right? He's the weakest of the midfield three, but he's a strong player. He holds the ball well, uses his body really well. I'm worried. Partey, Rice, Odegaard against Eriksen, Casemiro, and Bruno Fernandes. You know, I'm quite a positive man. I try to be, certainly when talking about United. That is terrifying. If we take Dalot out for a second and literally match this up man for man, there's a team there that's been ran really well for the last 5 seasons, and there's a team there which hasn't been ran so well for the last 5 years. So that's a really difficult battle. I think, you know, if I was to try and give Amorim a bit of advice for this game, I would say, particularly off the ball, we should try and be a little bit passive, to be honest. Normally, I'm very much against that. You guys have probably picked up that message. But I think this is a game where if we try and go toe-to-toe, if we try and press aggressively, I think we'll get played off the park. Because pressing is, of course, first of all, about timings and, of course, structures and tactics and things like that. But also a lot of pressing is about covering ground and winning 1-versus-1 battles. I don't really see this midfield area being full of 1v1 situations that we can actually go win. So I don't really think we have the luxury of pressing. We probably have to sit off a little bit deeper. Is it going to be a 3-5-2 today? It could go into this shape. And then sort of like Xerxes and Garnacho as the outballs on the counter-attack. I'm not sure. So it's going to be hard. Basically. Yeah, if you are looking at the team news and you're seeing the bench, it was released wrong initially. Initially, Højlund was not in the squad, but he is now in the squad. They re-released it. 99% sure we're going to get smashed, but I also thought the same thing when we went to the Emirates and we did win. True. Lost and lost for sure. Feels a little bit like that. I'm not as worried about set pieces this time around. They're not that big. Yeah, it's a shame to have lost Maguire in that regard. Set pieces, we know he's a massive weapon there. Casemiro, though, does do a really good job of making up for that. We do have 3 centre-backs on the pitch. We've also got a tall wing-back. I think Xerxes is quite good defensively on set pieces, particularly at the near post. In terms of Arsenal, like you said, they've lost a bit of height and a bit of physicality. But also, they've lost their player that delivers a lot of the set pieces, Bukayo Saka. Although, having said that, Declan Rice, yeah, that boy can deliver a ball. I don't know where that's come from in the past 18 months, but that boy can deliver a ball from a set piece. So that would be a little bit concerning. And I think always Gabriel is the one to watch out for. Because Arsenal got a few big players, to be fair. Calafiori, Gabriel, Saliba. Rice isn't small, although probably taking it. Marino, not the biggest team in the world, but still plenty of threats. So it's Højlund, Xerxes and Garnacho up top according to SofaScore. I think the SofaScore one currently is a possible lineup rather than the confirmed lineup, I believe. They beat us 2-0 just from set pieces last time, and that was without Gabriel. Yeah, Gabriel, always scary. Always scary. Really difficult to stop. Do left-footers exist? No. Look at the Manchester United team. Look at the United team. Dalot, right foot. Yoro, De Ligt, Lindelof, Onana, Mazraoui, Eriksen, Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, Garnacho, and Xerxes. All right-footed. In terms of balance, in terms of trying to offer a threat down 2 sides of the pitch, in terms of being able to move the ball both ways, we don't really have that. It's actually a game where Dalot will be important because it's been quite frustrating recently. When I say recently, it's been quite a while now. He has been frustrating, but he is a player who can go the other way. Of course. Deliveries in the final third, poor. Left-footed actions in the final third, poor. But actually, in these areas, he can at least go down the outside sometimes, and it's the same for Garnacho as well. He is right-footed, but at least when these two swap, he will try and go down the outside sometimes. I think that'll be really important. In terms of the attack and threat down the right-hand side, it sort of lacks penetration, really. Players that can really ask questions going the other way. You know, of these 4 here, who's going to be the one to stretch the defence, to go in behind? Who's going to scare Gabriel and Calafiori? I'm not sure that any of them really will. To be fair, on the other hand, technical quality. There's some really good technical quality there. Mazraoui, Eriksen, Xerxes, they're all players that can, to an extent, play in tight spaces. Their combination play is quite good. Are we clutching at straws there? Maybe. Would have preferred Heaven. It's a difficult one. Of course, we can sit here and say, you know, bring the young players into the team. It's a difficult game to do it, though, right? Because there's a decent chance we lose this football match, and it might be quite a difficult experience, this one. Likes of Heaven, Chidowobi, of course, playing against their former club that they literally only just left. Is it really the right time for them to be playing this? I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. Yeah, the lineups seems to be a little bit broken everywhere, but I think we have got the right one now. Lindelof, Eriksson, Mazraoui, Xerxes. Yeah, like... It's physicality, athleticism, it's so lacking. I'd actually like to see Garnacho on the right in this one. Calafiori is not the most mobile. I think what's interesting is I look at this 11, right? And we've got... Let's move Garnacho. We've got 5 defenders on the pitch. We've got 3 central midfielders. We've got a striker and a winger. So in terms of profiles, like you said there about could Garnacho go to the right-hand side, he is a bit more direct from the right. He is a bit more direct from this side. Is there the opportunity to try and give us some pace and something this way? So Bruno can be our sort of mobile player here. Dallow's going to bomb around on the overlap. Can we try and use Garnacho on the right-hand side where he is a little bit more direct, possibly? Because in terms of how Arsenal approach the game tactically, they often build a possession with a back 3. But the way that they do it is going to change a lot. Sometimes you'll see, Rice and Partey will be the double pivot, then one of them will go forward and Calafiori will come in, and then in another one, Calafiori is going to go forward and Timber will come into midfield. There's quite a lot of rotations. So I don't see this Arsenal team as one where you target a specific weakness. It's not like, okay, they've got a centre-back there, always in the wide channel, can we target that? Because Arsenal don't really play in that way. They're such a complete squad, they can do so many different things tactically, that I don't look at them and see obvious weaknesses defensively. But yeah, if we're talking on the ball, I think there is a weakness in that front 3. Although, in recent weeks, they have shown that they can deliver moments. They got the big win in the Champions League in midweek. I don't know what to make of this, to be honest. Last game, Amorim moved Garnacho to the right because he wouldn't play the overlap to Dorgu on the left. I don't know if that was the reason he'd done it, but he did do that. He did move him to the right-hand side, certainly for parts of the game. Is that something I would like to see? I'm trying to look at sort of matchups across the pitch. Something that I spoke about in my preview stream on Friday was if Collier starts, for example, can you get him up against Rice? Physically, that's a really interesting battle to watch. In terms of now, I don't really see a player that can compete with Rice, to be honest. Yeah, by the way, guys, if you are enjoying the stream, please leave a like. Even if you're not enjoying the stream, leave a like anyway, because it's completely free to join, and you might hate me, but it's still nice to help people, right? So if you could, please leave a like. That would be greatly appreciated, because, it's such a nice thing to do. Is it a keep the ball lineup, maybe? It will almost have to be at times. Because we don't really have the quick transitioning threat. Normally, if you get Casemiro and Bruno on the pitch, or even Eriksson for that matter, in moments they can obviously slow it down and play the sort of passing game. But they also have an ability to play forward quite quickly, to look for direct passes, to be quite aggressive with the passing. But without Højlund in the starting 11, we don't really have that runner at the top of the pitch, apart from Garnacho. So... there's a lot of emphasis on Garnacho if we play a transitional game. Is it going to be... I think if I had to predict how the game might sort of flow and how it might go, Arsenal dominate the ball, I would expect. I think when United get the ball, I don't think we'll look for immediate transitions because I don't think we've got the players to do it. So I think when we win the ball back, we'll try and sort of like slowly work our way up the pitch into the final third. So let's say Arsenal have chucked this lot forward, right, a little bit higher up here. When we win it back, I'm not expecting an awful lot of balls in behind like we did on Thursday, for example. Against Sociedad, we were very keen to play that ball quickly in behind the defence. I don't think we will do it so much in this game unless we look for Dallo as the extra on the side of the pitch. But I think instead it will be about, can Casemiro, Bruno, maybe Eriksson as well, can they deal with the sort of counter pressure from Arsenal? When Arsenal try and snap back into win the ball back, can we cope in those moments and sort of like gradually move up a little bit, then a little bit more, then a little bit more, and sort of slowly work our way into the final third? I think that might be the approach that we go for. AJ, what's your prediction? I'm saying 3-0 Arsenal. Sorry, I don't see one name on the pitch that can score. I think Bruno's up there, to be fair. Also with Xerxes' work rate and Garnacho decision-making, we're not scoring. I understand the lack of confidence. Like I said, I'm always the most optimistic United fan, I feel. I really try to look for the positives in the 11 and how we can win games and things like that. in terms of this particular 11, it's difficult to get excited. I do agree about the potential lack of goals in the team, the lack of potential threat. It's worrying. I've seen a few of you guys just talking about the benches, and I haven't actually seen them yet, so let's just quickly have a look. I won't get them up on screen. I'll read them out for you. Oh. This is quite fun. So if you're not currently positive and optimistic about this game, I'm not going to help you here. So United's bench is Harrison and me, both young goalkeepers, academy goalkeepers. We've then got Harry Amas, we've got Aidan Heaven, we've got Jack Fletcher, we've got Jack Lee Morehouse, we've got Toby Collier, we've got Chido Obi Martin, and we've got Rasmus Højlund. So, yeah. Højlund's our most experienced player on the bench, and, you know, there's some interesting opinions on him going around at the moment. Our second most experienced player on the bench is Toby Collier, and Toby Collier himself is a player who hasn't had a lot of football recently because of being injured and just coming back from illness. 2 minutes in the last 2 games. Okay, it's not the most exciting. Let's have a look at Arsenal's, because maybe their bench is worse, right? Maybe the Arsenal bench is really bad. Or maybe not. Neto, Tierney, Ben White, Zinchenko, Kivior, Jorginho, Lewis Skelly, Sterling and Martinelli. So Martinelli obviously is close to being fit. Someone just put it in the chat. The bench situation is literally men against boys. Like, literally. Can someone give me something in the chat, right, that we can look at with this 11 and find that positive? Someone give me something that's going to get me excited, that makes me think we've got a chance in this game. Because at the moment, I see us sitting deep and then perhaps lacking transitional threat. How is Dalot still starting, bro? This is a crime. Yeah, I mean, I actually think he had a pretty good game last weekend against Fulham. In midweek, of course, got into a really good position, but didn't play the pass, and everyone hates him for that. To be honest, though, we've just gone through the benches. Who else is really coming in? Harry Amas, is it the right time to throw him into the team? Is he ready? I'm not sure. I don't know who else you really bring in is the problem. We have Onana. You know what? That's a lovely positive. Bruno existing is a positive. Love it. The Chido Revenge arc off the bench is the only positive. I am so here for that. Last 20 minutes, 3-5-2 flat with Højlund and Obi up top. Yes, please. Bruno plays for us. That's all I need to have hope. You know what? I actually back it. I feel like we've had these games so many times in the past. Maybe even a little bit under Ollie. Where we sort of see the team, we're up against a Manchester City and Arsenal or Liverpool, whoever, and you look at them and go, how on earth do United get a win here? Even going back to the FA Cup final last season, of course that was a better 11 than this, but there's been so many times where we have looked at the United team, Arsenal recently in the Cup, and gone, how on earth do United get a result out of this one? There's no one there who's going to give us anything, and we actually have come up with results in the past few seasons in some of these games. Obviously, on the other hand, we've also been smacked a couple of times, like proper battered in these matches. But maybe this is one of those days where, you know, after the game, we're talking all about passion. We're talking about players playing for the badge, putting their bodies on the line, getting stuck into tackles, defending together in the box defense from De Ligt, Onana making the saves and things like that. Perhaps that's what's going to happen. Is going to be one of those days where those are the sort of takeaways from the game. We nick a late goal, we win 1-0 or 2-1, something like that. And we're talking about the mentality. Perhaps we've got a youth player coming from the bench who gives us a moment. Like, how many times has that happened in United's history? So many times. Perhaps it is one of those days where almost logically you look at it and think with your brain and you almost can't find a way for United to win. But, I mean, really, it might just be one of those days where it just happens. Football is a really weird sport, right? Maybe it's one of those days where something happens. Should we try and figure out what side some of these guys might play? Because David has just said, I can't fathom Lindelof playing wide. Maybe he plays centrally. It's an interesting one. So personally, I see Lindelof in the back three as a wider defender as opposed to in the middle, just because aerially I don't think he's strong enough to be the commanding centre-back. And he has played a few games at fullback in his career, but granted, he's not the most athletic, he's not the quickest, not the greatest 1v1 defender. Recently, Lindelof came on in a game and did go to middle centre-back, and De Ligt stayed on the outside. Now, was that just because it was late on in the match, so you don't want to completely sort of rejig your back three? Or was that because Amorim sees Lindelof playing in the middle? I'm not too sure. We've also got the question of, let's say it is De Ligt in the middle. What way around do Yoro and Lindelof then play? Because Lindelof has played left centre-back in his career a number of times. Yoro has played left centre-back a fair amount recently in the back three. Yoro has also played a lot of his career on the right, and Lindelof has done that as well. So what way around do we expect this to be? Lindelof defending the channels? Yeah, he's by no means the greatest in that situation, right? By no means the greatest. But we don't have many options. We don't have many options. Raya disaster class for absolutely no reason. Why not? Why not? The big positive was Casemiro looked really up for it last game, and I think Yoro is developing, not only technically, but looks physically bigger and stronger. Xerxes growing in confidence. Good stuff, Joseph. I like it, mate. Those are positives from recent weeks. Good stuff. Scared to watch this game. This is crazy. We are undoing everything we achieved. Yeah. I'm really struggling right now, guys. I'm really struggling to find that big positive. I think what I would look at is if we are a team that is perhaps going to be a little bit deep at times, which is probably to be expected because technically Arsenal are the better team, physically Arsenal are the better team, so you probably expect them to dominate the game, which will force United a little bit deeper. We'll probably sit off into some form of passive shape. I'd quite like to see the 5-3-2 that Amorim used eventually in his last, not his last game, but his Champions League game against Manchester City. I'd like to see a similar idea there. Could even be Eriksen sort of like in that position. But what I'm thinking is, if we do get into this sort of game state, do Arsenal have we call them game breakers, right? The game breakers to unlock a defence. A game breaker, I would say, is someone who, out of nothing, gives you a moment. So Rashford has been that for United the past few seasons. Bruno Fernandes has been that. Manchester City have De Bruyne, have Haaland. Liverpool have Trent Alexander-Arnold. They have Salah. They have these players that, they can be flat all game and then they're going to give you that spark. I'm talking proper elite world-class attacking players. Arsenal do lack that. Arsenal do lack that. Mourinho, like I've said, he can score goals, of course, but he is a midfielder. Nwaneri, great in moments, but so young. He's not elite by any means yet. He's not even remotely close to being in that conversation. Not that sort of player. Trossard, to be fair, might be the one who can sort of give you a moment. He's not typically someone to do all the work himself, pick the ball up, beat two, wrap it into the top corner. That's not really Trossard's game. He's a bit more like Diogo Jota in terms of profile, where he's going to sniff out a chance in the box, and his finishing is pretty good. But I still wouldn't call him a game breaker. Even Odegaard, you guys are talking about him. An amazing player. An amazing player, Odegaard. I think he's such a good footballer. His defensive work, I think, is so underappreciated. His technical work is amazing. But in terms of, again, actual pure creativity, the ability to break a game in the attack and third, he does it. Yeah, of course he does. But I wouldn't say he does it as consistently, easy for me to say, as the elites. Compared to the Brunos of the world, the De Bruynes of the world. I don't think Odegaard is that level from a creative point of view, from a goal-scoring point of view. Now, that's not to say that he can't, right? Because, again, he has done it a few times in the past few seasons, but he doesn't do it as consistently as the elite. Declan Rice is a player that can pop up with goals and things like that, but again, he doesn't do it all the time. He's not that sort of player. Thomas Partey got a long ranger in him, but not someone who does it a lot. Someone put a comment in the chat there, and I really like this. They're game breakers of the corners. And yeah, I think they are. I think that's actually quite a nice way of wording it. And perhaps the best I've ever seen anyone put it. People talk a lot about Arsenal not having game breakers, those players that give those big moments. Maybe it is the corners. Maybe that's why they've looked so much into the corners for that. Maybe that's something I've done intentionally. They have Saka, just not now. Yeah, normally, of course, I would say Saka is a game breaker. I think Saka's one of the best wingers in the world. But right now, they don't have that. AJ, I saw the 442 video saying that one of United's biggest problems is the 10's lack of mobility and how they don't run and get into positions to exploit the space. Do you think this is the biggest issue? First of all, I haven't seen the 442 video, but they do a lot of amazing content, so check them out if you haven't already, although you probably have. Do I think it's the biggest issue? No, I think it's one of the issues, certainly. I think it's a problem that we face. I think we have bigger issues in terms of the collective physicality and mobility of the team. I don't think it's specifically the 10s. That is a problem that we have, that they aren't that mobile, but it's not the biggest problem for me. For me, our problems are more in the wing-back positions and in the deeper midfield positions, but maybe that's just me. Now we have a full youth bench. Let's hope Amorim makes a sub before the 88th minute. Snipes, mate. We've been thinking that a lot recently, right? The United team news comes out. Often there's young players on the bench, and we're thinking, surely one of them today. We've got we've got Xerxes and Højlund on the pitch, so Chidowobi's going to get at least half an hour. And that hasn't happened too much, just the one game last week. I think this is the one where we will. Because of this comment from the other day. And I kept going on about this on Friday in the stream. We have to be really smart during a game against Arsenal. We have to check the players, to feed the players really well. They have to rest. Talking about protecting the players, recovering the players. It's an important moment in our season. We have to survive Sunday and be ready for Thursday. I get the impression that Amorim will prioritise, in the last 30 minutes, he will prioritise Thursday. Is the feeling that I get. So if, last 30 minutes, I wouldn't expect Casemiro to still be on the pitch because I think we'll protect him for Thursday. I wouldn't expect Xerxes to be on the pitch because I think we'll protect him for Thursday. That certainly opens up the potential for Collier to come on. Obviously Højlund as well from the bench. Any other subs beyond that are going to be youth players. They're going to be fresh academy players. So I do think if there is a game to see them, weirdly it's Arsenal. But I genuinely think we could see some of them in this game. I think it's a genuine possibility. Like you said, hopefully for one of them, it can be 20 minutes as opposed to like 2, 3 or 4. If you look at the Tottenham team news from today, they're playing against Bournemouth. Really difficult game, obviously. And they are also, of course, having a poor season, Spurs. They've got Europa League game on Thursday, having lost in the first leg. You can see in their lineup, they've prioritised Thursday. There was no Son in the starting 11, no James Maddison. I think Amorim will do something similar. I think his subs around the 60th, with 30 to go. I think those subs will be with an eye on Thursday rather than winning this match. Unless the game state gets weird and we're 1-0 up or 2-1 up or something like that, then it might be a little bit different. It's only right that he protects the players for Thursday, possibly the most crucial game for us. Yeah, I would label Thursday as our biggest game of the season. Then if we get through in the Europa League, those 2 games will be the biggest games of the season. But in terms of, to this point, sitting here on the 9th of March, our biggest game this season is the one, not today, but the next one. Real Sociedad. That is our biggest game because it's all we've got left, really. So I think it is right to protect them. Absolutely looking forward to the game to see Xerxes hit Saliba down again. Yes, please. Yes, please, yes, please, yes, please. Hopefully we don't see Højlund before we see Chidowobi. That would be a really interesting one. In terms of who the fans would want, obviously, I think we know the answer there. It would be interesting to see what Amorim would do. What does it do to the confidence of Højlund if you don't pick him first? I'm not sure. Do you watch cricket? I do not. I used to play a little bit of cricket at school, and I was terrible. So, never really got into it. Winning the Europa League would be incredible. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to happen. But it is what we've got to play for this season. I weirdly think we will win the Europa League. And I don't really have a reason, like a logical reason to give you for that. Just vibes. I think we're going to win it. It's a shame that Amorim prefers Eriksen over Chido and Lindelof over Heaven. I've said this so many times. It's a lot easier to bring a young player in. Look, right here, Ranieri, into a stable team. Arsenal are a stable football club. Of course, they haven't won the trophies that they would have wanted over the past few seasons. Haha. But they're a stable football team. It's much easier to bring young players into that environment. An environment where they win a lot of games, a lot of good, clever players on the pitch, physically, players that can sort of make up for certain situations. Whereas at United, we've got a toxic environment, a toxic fan base, losses left, right and centre, particularly at Old Trafford. It's not a nice environment to bring the youngsters into. So yeah, we always love seeing him. We always love seeing an academy player get his moment because, it's the heartbeat of the football club. But I do also understand the reason behind not bringing them in. I'm a bit more hopeful that perhaps next season we see certain ones brought in a bit more, particularly Collier, I think, has got a chance. Maybe one of the centre-backs, one of the wing-backs next season, when hopefully, and we're really praying here, hopefully in the summer we build a team which is a bit more settled. Then we can bring some academy players into that. Maybe, particularly after a pre-season with them. I don't know. Maybe I'm just hoping there. Europa League manager bounce is what we need. It's definitely a toxic environment and fan base. Yeah, completely agree. I think it is. What if we win, AJ? Do a watch along for the Sociedad game? Let's make it a spicy occasion. I won't be doing a watch along, unfortunately. Oh, just punched the mic. I will not be doing a watch along for that game. Maybe watch along one day, but not anytime soon, unfortunately. Chidobe had a good cameo, but still made many mistakes. Imagine him against Gabriel and Saliba. Not that easy, in my opinion. Yeah, exactly right. Chidobe clearly a raw player. I think he impressed with his cameo last week, but a really raw player. Puts him against two of the best centre-backs in the world. A centre-back pairing which is probably in the top 5 in world football, in a game where he's probably not going to get too much of the ball, where he's going to be doing a sort of graveyard shift, chasing loose balls, having balls chucked up to him, and he's got to try and be a target man. I don't think it would be a nice game for him, and not even particularly a good learning experience if he was to play from the start, so I understand not playing him. This chat ain't toxic? Oh yeah, when I talk about the United fan base being toxic, by the way, I don't mean you guys. Because believe me, if I did think that, the channel wouldn't still be going. That's my favourite thing about this channel. You guys. That we have a little, corner of the internet, if you like, where the opinions are just chill. Just chill. Everyone can disagree with each other, but it's done in a respectful way. We have our conversations, we challenge each other with different ideas, but it's all done in a respectful manner, which is, why I love you guys so much. You should do watch-alongs for certain League One games, I reckon. I reckon no. Hold that. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Yes, guys, if you could, please leave a like on the stream. Make a Manchester United fan happy, right? Because we may not get that on the pitch today. So if you could make a United fan happy by liking, that'd be amazing. If you could subscribe and get your name up there, that'd be amazing. Notifications on, that'd be class. Join the Discord, subscribe to the second channel, which is actually doing really well, by the way. So if you have checked that out, you're a legend. I love you. But yeah, sorry, Josh, mate. He'll be doing us next year in the championship, so don't worry. Please no. Also, it's Cheeto Obi's old club, and he might struggle with that. Exactly. There's so many reasons. There are so many things to consider there. Anyway, we thought we kind of settled on Lindelof right, De Ligt to middle, Euro left, right? Was the thoughts I saw in chat. How do you see this lining up? Do you think it could be a 3-5-2 like that? A slightly more conservative shape, if you like. We haven't got a lot of legs in midfield, so put an extra player in there to try and make up for it. Hoping that Casemiro and Eriksen between them cover the ground of one player. Or is it going to be the typical 3-4-3? And if it is, what side do they play? Eriksen against Rice, if it was like this, feels a little bit questionable. So do you swap them like that? Use Dallow's physicality to help out Eriksen a little bit? But then this side feels a little bit light, to be honest. Is it definitely Xerxes up front? Recently he's been, playing more as an inside forward. Is there a world where Eriksen could play as a false 9? We have seen that before. What do we reckon here? I'd have Casemiro on Odegaard's side. Casemiro and Eriksen scare me. Hope the Arsenal midfield doesn't eat ours up. I mean, typically, Arsenal aren't actually that great at progressing through the middle of the pitch. I think it's largely because of Arteta, just because I think naturally he's a slightly cautious, slightly conservative manager who doesn't want his team to put the ball at risk unless there's definitely the reward there. So a lot of the time, they don't tend to take the risky pass in midfield, although against us it might be a little bit more open. But they do tend to look out wide a little bit more, which is why I know they scored a lot in the Champions League. But recently, generally speaking, aside from that game, they haven't been scoring a lot of goals because they sort of funnel the ball wide and They don't actually have the best wide players at the moment. Again, with Saka injured, with Martinelli out of the team. So that might be a way in which we can sort of stifle them. If we can crowd the middle of the pitch. I've lost a player. Ericsson. If we can sort of crowd the middle of the pitch in here, force Arsenal wide, and then almost back ourselves in those positions, that might be a half-decent strategy off the ball. I think the focus at that point, and Dallo, I'm looking at you, mate, but also Mazraoui is guilty of this as well. Stop the bloody crosses into the box, please. Dallo is so bad at that. I think Dallo's quite a good footballer. I've defended him a reasonable amount recently. But on my days, in terms of actually getting out to a winger and stopping a cross into the box, he is awful. He is awful. This needs to be a day where he's a little bit better at it, because I think they're going to use the wide areas. Dallo is going to have to do a good job there. Physically, he can overwhelm this young man. Technically, an IQ... let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about it. De Ligt masterclass soon? Wait, he was so good. Was it the Fulham game? Where he was playing those switches? It was. Last weekend I thought De Ligt was amazing. I thought probably his best game in the United shirt. Long may that continue, because we might need it in this game. Arsenal don't have that sort of natural presence in the box, to be fair. Marino, good, but not striker. So if De Ligt can dominate the duels in the middle, most things that come in there, it will give us a platform. I don't think Arsenal will look at us and go, that's an easy win. As much as we're scared, I think naturally we're almost programmed at the moment to be pessimistic, to look on the bad side of things, and just assume we're going to lose. Arsenal will look at us and go, well, they've got some tall players in there, which will be difficult on set pieces. They've got a lot of defensive-minded players in that team, so it's going to be difficult to break down. Arsenal themselves will be thinking, we don't really have our elite attackers with us at the moment. We don't even have a striker on the pitch. You know, we will be more pessimistic than sensible Arsenal fans are optimistic, if that makes sense. I'm hating the 3 at the back formations because of United. Yeah. I've never really been a fan of a back 3. We used to have this conversation on the Discord quite a lot. A lot of people in the server are big fans of back 3s. Not necessarily our back 3, but a lot of people are a fan of the system. I've always been a little bit against it just because of the certain principles you get in the shape, but I think they can work as well at the top level. Amorim's tactics have exposed Dallo's weaknesses. I think what I would say for Dallo is he's a great fullback, very average wingback, very average, maybe even a poor wingback, apart from physically. That's how I would label it. Would you play Collier? If he was fit and ready, which we don't know if he is, but assuming he's fit and ready, absolutely he'd be in my starting 11, 100%. I'm going to guess he's not fully there. Of course, he's missed several weeks now recently, so I'm going to guess he's not kind of fully ready to go. Hopefully we can see him 30-35 minutes in this match. Where's the comment gone? There was a comment I was going to read and I can't see it now. Where's it gone? I can't find it. Let's go to this one instead. I think we'll see more of a 5-4-1. Fill the midfield out and leave Xerxes up top to bring the ball down and look for the ball into Garnacho on the counter. And David saying something similar, like the 5-4-1 out of possession. If that is to be the case, right? If it is, let's go. What, Ericsson in up there? Let's say it is the 5-4-1. I think what's important is that it's a compact 5-4-1 as opposed to a 5-2-3. Because I think Odegaard will hurt us in here. Unless Yoro gets it right with the timing here and Lindelof here. But I would suggest that's a little bit unlikely. We've seen for 3 months now, really, the centre-back struggling a little bit with that timing. Now, recently they've gotten a little bit better, but Lindelof's barely played in this system. So I doubt he's going to really have that timing on point. So I would be a little bit worried in these moments when Arsenal can sort of play that diagonal pass into the feet of the midfielder. So I think it would be important to be more of the 5-4-1. But if we're doing that, and then, you know, we win the ball back, Xerxes is going to have to do a lot of good work holding the ball. And that's probably why we've got him instead of Højlund, because he can come towards the ball more, he can get the ball under control. He won't wrestle the centre-backs quite as much. He uses his body more intelligently. His first touch is better. So whilst he's still not a target man, I think he gives us a little bit more in those moments. So he's going to have to do a really good job of that. And then what's important is that we get players around him. So we're looking for Garnacho then trying to burst in behind. Dallo is someone who's going to need to make up some ground because I don't know that Mazraoui will do it. And then someone like Ericsson will probably offer you that sort of shorter combination option, is what we'll probably be looking for. We lose, stop coping, just accept it. Cool. You're a really fun United fan. I am a back three fanboy, and I think it will click eventually. I would love it to. I would absolutely love it to. Would you rather see United by Cunha or Mbeumo? Ooh, I prefer Cunha as a footballer. I think he's more suited to what United need in the current system. But his antics, shall we call them, are not acceptable. So I don't want him. I don't want him, to be honest. As much as he's an amazing player on the football pitch, he does some daft things. In terms of Mbeumo, obviously a great player, but he's not someone that I've ever really focused on and properly watched him to be able to tell you. So I don't know sort of the intricacies of his game as much as I do Cunha, so it's difficult to say. But yeah, I think Cunha's the better footballer, but I don't think United should go near him because I just don't think it's what we need. Guys, we've got Ricardo back in the chat. Now, if you guys remember from the other day, Ricardo is a Sporting fan. So he knows a lot about Amorim. He knows a lot about sort of the process that Amorim went through. And he said in the first year, we had Paulinho as a striker, but the wingers and the 10 were fast. United only has Garnacho. That's a big issue here. That there is that lack of runners around the striker to get going. We need, ideally, past this summer to get someone else who can be a running option. I don't know if any team can really work with just one runner. By the way, guys, apologies if you just heard that in the background. You might have heard the dogs just fighting. I'm imagining that was over a biscuit or something. I apologise for that. Cunha is more technical in my opinion, but I would prefer Mbeumo. I think that's fair. Am I mad, or would Ryan Chrissy be absolutely brilliant for our midfield pivot? He is one of the most underrated players in the Premier League, isn't he, Ryan Chrissy? Probably even by myself prior to this season. I don't think I ever realised quite how good he is. But he was looking good in the first half this afternoon. Although I've just seen, that game finished 2-2 between Spurs and Bournemouth. What? Yeah, Buster and Loki having a bit of a scrap in the background. I do apologise for that. Spurs Bournemouth finished 2-2. How on earth did that happen? Son scored a late penalty. Damn. Evan Nielsen scored for Bournemouth. Real ones will know that I'd done a video on him back in the day as a potential option for United. Was never quite the level at the time. Also, looking at other results, Chelsea beat Leicester. And I've still got Cole Palmer in my fantasy team, and he missed a penalty and done nothing else. Cool. Ryan Cherky would be a good buy. Interesting one. Ryan Chrissy went off injured, I think. Oh, okay. You know what? He's even more perfect for United. He picks up injuries. That's what we need. It's still obviously half an hour away till kickoff. But is there anything else to talk about? Is there actually anything else that you guys want to discuss? We need to do predictions. But is there anything else to discuss outside of that? Now, I think on Friday's stream, I went 2-1 United. I think I went 2-1 United, and I said the goal scorers would be, I think I said Yoro and Garnacho. Now, those two are still in the starting 11, and I think I said Trossard for Arsenal. So, that's still on. That's still on. The United Academy has a great amount of talent just asking to be discovered. Yep, and a lot of them are on the bench today. Might get to see one of them. We might get to see one of them. Where's it gone? Kudus honestly seems like a good buy. Technical and fast. If I could sign any 10 in world football right now, it would be Kudus to play as the right forward. Would love it. Would love it. What sub would you make on 60 minutes if it's 1-0? What, we're 1-0 down, you're saying? I would probably just turn the TV off, to be honest. No, I would... Again, we're trying to think about Thursday as well, aren't we? I'd have Casemiro off looking ahead to Thursday regardless. That's a decision that I would make fairly early in the game. Collier's energy is something that I would look to bring on at some point in the game. I think that impact can be useful. In terms of attack and subs, I'm trying to think, is there a way that late on, like you said, we're 1-0 down, can you put Garnacho out to wing back? Can you get Højlund on the pitch? Chidowobi, I don't actually think I've got him here today. Is he down here? I can't see him. I don't think I've got him written down. But could you go, Højlund, Xerxes, Chidowobi as a front three? Although that feels a little bit imbalanced. I really don't know. It's tough. It's tough. It's a bad state of affairs when we would all sell 50% of this squad. Not ideal. Not ideal. Gibbs White for me. Yeah, great player as well. Great player. Another really good footballer. Do you see his work yesterday for the goal against City? Whew, beautiful. Anyway, I've lost my players. Where are they gone? Christian Eriksen, get yourself back in here, mate. You can't escape that easily. And Mazraoui. There you go. Again, I just got attacked by a fly. It's March, mate. Why is this happening? How would it be if we played aggressive and press? To be honest, probably wouldn't go very well. I nearly always encourage a high press. Obviously, you guys know me. I like to see a team that plays on the front foot and is aggressive and asks questions of the other team. But I'm struggling to see a way in which you can press with Eriksen and Casemiro. Consistently, anyway. Consistently. I don't know. Maybe you can do it in sort of spells and in moments you're going to get the press right. But if we're talking about doing it for 60, 65, 70 minutes of this match, I don't think they can do it. So I don't really think we have an option here. I really don't like this lineup, guys. Yeah, me neither. Me neither. It's a bad team. It's a bad team. The bench, very inexperienced. But like Marvin said there, inexperienced, yes, but there's some talent there as well. There's some good young players on the bench. I like Jack Fletcher. I was speaking about him the other day. Chidobe, Aiden Heaven, we signed him in January. Some good players there. Some good players. And that goal yesterday was everything I love about Gibbs White. Yeah, quality player. I wish we'd have bought Sabitzer. Would you have said that at the time, though? Or was that something that you sort of kind of look back and say? Let me know what you think. Eriksen will definitely make a difference. That might be what we're looking for, right? That might be what we're looking for. Can we get a goal from a set piece? Maybe a Bruno or an Eriksen delivery. Good set piece takers. We've got Casemiro up from the back. Xerxes tall, Dalot tall, 3 centre-backs. Maybe a set piece is where we can find something. Eriksen, Bruno are also players that can make something happen on the edge of the box. The Arsenal defence is strong, it's compact. But those two can unlock a defence. Better than most. Better than most, those two can unlock a defence. So there are ways that we can score. For me, it's the lack of transition threat which worries me a little bit. But, you know, maybe if Garnacho plays on the right instead of the left and we see Eriksen go over, perhaps there are moments where Garnacho and Dalot can be the wide threats. And of course, they're not the trickiest players you're ever going to see, and they're far from perfect. But they are at least direct in a sense. They offer you a bit of run and threat down the outside. Maybe that's the way that we find something with Xerxes maybe arriving on the edge, ghosting, or you know, someone like Eriksen coming in behind when Xerxes takes the centre backs. Maybe that's something that we'll be looking for. Casemiro 20-yard banger. See, genuinely, you know, almost kind of say it in jest a little bit, but he is capable of that. He genuinely is, and I think realistically, if United are to win this game, that's what it's going to take. I'm not expecting a United performance which is dominant, that kind of controls the game, unless we do it defensively, maybe. But I'm not expecting us to dictate the tempo of the game. It probably is going to be a case of being resolute, being compact, whether that's high or low, and moments. Moments FC is honestly what we probably need today. Arsenal would play through us if we pressed? Yeah, I would have thought so. I hope we can be relentless at least and not give up or put our heads down. Yeah, again, I said that earlier on in the stream. I think if United are to win today, we're going to come out of this match talking about resilience, about mindset, about, you know, work ethic and things like that. If United are going to win, it's going to take that. It's going to take that hard work for each other, the dueling, the battling in the middle of the pitch, but also perhaps at times defending your box well, being resolute, putting your body on the line, that sort of thing. I think ultimately that's what we're going to need. AJ, what position do you think United would be if they had first season Casemiro? That's a really interesting question. Trying to think of how first season Casemiro would sort of fit into this team. To be honest, I don't think he'd exactly be a game changer for us. I don't think he'd see us sort of fly up the table. But yeah, we'd be in a better place, I would imagine. At worst, we get a draw. That's what I mean, right? If we can play compact, get a youth player on late on, this could turn out to be a really good United day. If you can, like you said, hold on for large parts of the game, then get some youthful energy and exuberance towards the end, that might be what we need to get ourselves that late win or something. Or, like you said, a draw, something like that. It might happen. It might happen. What United need is a partner for Ugarte. I'm a little unsure on Ugarte. A new right winger / wing back. Hard to find, but obviously that's the criteria. We need 2 number 10s and a box striker, a clinical one. We need a lot realistically, right? And that's why it's not going to be solved this summer. It's gonna take a couple of years. Hopefully we will progress this year. But yeah, we're not going to be finished the article too soon. Chido-Obi 1-0. Should we do it? Prediction time. Prediction time. West Ham can beat them, so can we. Nathan, I love it. Prediction time, guys. What do you reckon? I'm going to go for my 2-1 still. Partner for Manu. Josh, you know. Score prediction. Steve has gone Chido-Obi 1-0. And maybe this is just one of those days where, you know those Premier League script writers, right? They got out a little pen with a feather on the end of it. And they've cooked up something beautiful here. Where it's the most shithouse United performance you've ever seen in your life. And Chido-Obi late on against his former club, who keeps getting trolled by Arsenal fans because he's not scored 35 goals in 3 minutes as a child. He gets a goal. 1-0. United go mental. It might be one of those. It might be one of those. I love how I've said that. And then Josh goes, 4-0 Arsenal. Love it. Dallo and Garnacho are going to cost us to win. I like it. 2-2. I'd take it. 2-2 again. I'd take it. 3-1. Is that to us? Yes, please. 0-0 wouldn't be a bad result. A draw would be okay here. 6-0 Arsenal. Realistically, that's my big hope for today. That however this goes today, that it's not one of those proper awful ones where we get absolutely smashed. Really, really. Can you imagine what the fan base is going to be like tomorrow morning if we get smacked here? Ay, ay, ay. Callum says 1-0 with the goal from Højlund, but Onana having the masterclass. I think as far as predictions go right now, the chat will not react very well to that one, but I'm here for it. Arsenal aren't going to win. They always bottle it here. Tams, I love it. 1-0 or 0-0 to Arsenal. Nathan says Bruno and Chido goals. Yes, please. Ugarte is class, I think. A rarity for United. I'd sell Bruno instead of Ugarte. Crazy, I know. I think Ugarte is a very good player. I think he's a really good squad player, particularly. I think in other leagues he'd look even better. I don't know that he's ideal for us right now, but perhaps that's what he's got around him. I think he's a really good squad player, Ugarte. He's not someone that I personally would build around. We can talk about that someday. My reasons behind that. Can't see us scoring unless it's from a set piece. Let's hope we get some set pieces then. 2-0 Arsenal, probably seeing Onana howler. 3-0 Arsenal wins. Just hoping Dallo has a brain today. 3-2 United. Ricardo says 3 points. Yes, please. Yes, please. Need Onana to play like earlier in the season. Yeah, you know. I think my favourite United game post-Fergie is the 3-1 away win against Arsenal in 17-18. We need something like that, right? We need something like that. We can hope. We can hope. Cross your fingers. Cross your fingers? Your fingers. Let's just hope, right? I think that's what we're going into this game with. Hope, more than belief. Just try and hope something happens. Just maybe we get a win somehow. If not, voice crack. Beautiful. If not, we were kind of expecting it anyway, right? We almost can't be too angry at the end of the day because we're expecting to lose this match. So as a United fan, it's win-win. If we lose, we go, doesn't hurt anymore. If we draw, we go, oh, nice, decent result. If we win, we laugh at the Arsenal fans. So it can't be that bad for United because we're already so low that we can't really go much lower, can we? Can't really go much lower. It's a nice sunny day. United win. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. I think that's how this goes. United come away with 3 points. And we're all sitting here like, why can we beat Arsenal but not Fulham? Huh. Weird. Weird. Anyway, I think for the stream, we've finished there. I don't think there's really anything else to talk about. The starting 11 isn't surprising. There's a couple of shocks, I guess. Or I wouldn't call them shocks. They're slightly like, I wasn't expecting that in the 11. But apart from that, not too much. So I think that is all the talking points covered. We're going to win 2-1, all right? Believe me. Euro and Garnacho scored the goals. AJ is my only hope for United. You might call it delusion, perhaps, but we're going to keep being deluded, all right? We're going to keep being deluded. Hopefully this is one of those days where United just make something happen and we secure 3 points, and I think it might happen. And if it does, best believe there will be a video out on the game tonight. If we lose or draw, there's a chance the video gets delayed till tomorrow. It will probably depend realistically just on how the game goes. The kickoff is a bit of a funny time for me to actually get the video out. But yeah, we'll see what happens with the match. Mac saying he's a secret Man City fan, but your channel is so fun to watch. Mac, if you... Well, actually, first of all, thank you for watching this channel. If you are genuinely a City fan, I have a second channel linked at the top of the chat right now. AJ Talks Tactics. Very decent chance I do a video on City at the moment. Or at some point, sorry. Whether that's what's going wrong, what they need in the summer, Marmoush's impact in signing, whatever it may be. Very decent chance I talk about City at some point. And also, guys, again, if United do lose and you're sort of fed up with United by the end of today, check out the second channel because you get to see how good teams play football, which is quite nice to see because we're not really used to it. So, yeah, do check out the second channel. I think it's quite a good vibe. I actually prefer it to the main channel. In terms of what I'm going to do right now, probably go have a read through the Discord server. So I recommend you guys do that. It is linked at the top of the chat. In terms of the stream, though, we've finished there. Thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it. If you've liked the stream, you're a legend, by the way. Subscribed, gifted memberships, renewed your own membership. Legendary behaviour. But yeah, stream is finished there. So thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it, as always. And I shall see you. You already subscribed to the second channel? My man, what a legend. Yeah, I will see you guys in the next stream, which will be probably Thursday before the Europa League game because I've got quite a busy week. Video, it will be either tonight or tomorrow. So I'll see you.